Hello, happy Monday, friends. Ingrid Arya here with you, cooking dinner and getting ready to eat. But I just wanted to come on and say hello and see how you are and share something so important and integral to yoga, from yoga's beginning, from yoga's traditional path, the importance of home practice. I'm talking about asana, your time on the mat, but also really just setting up time to be with yourself, and how the transformation and the inspiration you get from the inspiration you get from going to yoga classes will take root and blossom into something extraordinary when you bring it into your home life. And it's that little by little, it's kind of like the boring consistency that we need in life to really move forward. You know, you can look at anyone that has really done anything amazing with their life, whatever your standards for amazing are, but anyone who's achieved something, whether it's on a global scale, whether it's on a small town scale or so, and while it may look like in front of everyone it was a very quick overnight success story, you talk to that person and there was probably years, decades of behind the scenes showing up for the small steps. And this is with yoga as well. You know, I'll share with you, a student came in to practice, to workshop the other day, and a student who has MS, and this person's symptoms were flaring up over a period of time, just dealing with stress and whatnot, and said, you know, the student was able to get into child's pose and really explore child's pose and shavasana and other restorative practices, and the symptoms were decreased incredibly. And that's something that practice was able to afford. You know, other students have spoken about it, and studying with me, home practice is something that I really, ladgish, the word is in Hebrew in my head, but emphasize. So this is where you take the information we learn together in weekly class and weekly workshop, and then you bring it home, and with my support and then supporting your own intuition, you develop a personal practice. And it's really small. It doesn't need to be an hour on your mat. Really show up for 5 to 10 minutes on your mat. Show up for yourself for 5 minutes of breathing. Show up for yourself for 5 minutes of mindfulness, for 5 minutes of journaling work and self-observation work. But show up consistently. It's so boring. So say there's 7 days in the week, show up for more than half of those, show up for 4. Science is now even backing up that the smaller, more consistent work, rather than having a 1 hour class once a week, is going to affect your nervous system to get into more parasympathetic state, but also it's going to affect the place from where you make your decisions from. Much more small and consistent steps than just, the one class a week, or however often you might get yourself to yoga. While it's amazing, the yoga classes are amazing, community building, it's fun to get out. Maybe it's your time for you. Maybe, just the inspiration. I know when I go study with other teachers, I just love, moving my body in ways that I never thought, or connecting different asanas together, or just different inspiration and quotes for meditation and mindfulness, connecting with the community. There's so many different reasons why, group practice is extraordinary and so integral, and especially in today's day in life, so many of us are by ourselves more, or we connect, socially online really, but that being in the flesh with other people and breathing the same air as them, it's something so magical. And we got to take it home, and really show up, like Batabi Joy says, practice and all is coming. Showing up for yourself a little bit consistently is where the magic of transformation and the magic of, suddenly looking at life differently. Or you might have normally always thought there were 2 options. It's black and white. Wait, and now you can see there's actually so many different options for you to choose. There's so many different doorways that open up for you. And it's really just through consistent practice. I've heard actually recently from a bunch of students that Shavasana, was the hardest pose for many to get into. And I know sometimes I struggle with it because I'm like, my mind, I'm not there. I'm not ready to sit still. My body, I'm coming in with a lot of charge. I'm overworked, or I'm exhausted, but my head is like nonstop. So sometimes I got to trick myself out and move through a bit of a flow, or move into a yoga asana practice that is on the more active side, and get myself into a place where then I can slowly start to settle down, and then I can just move into a space of stillness and being and non-doing. And recently I started prescribing for students, actually in yoga training with me, you have to practice at home 4 times a week, like I was saying. So I started prescribing for quite a few students. Actually, one of those practices, let it be 20 minutes of shavasana, or 25 minutes of shavasana, or 5 minutes of breathing and 20 minutes of shavasana. Let that be your asana practice for today. And some were in a bit of disbelief. And I heard from a bunch very recently, actually, that now it's like they love it. They can get into it. Some still, the mind might be racing, but you can realize, wow, I can still be still, and realize my mind is just the family member that needs a bit of attention, and it's just going to keep going, and he'll really talk to himself. No one even has to pay attention to him, and we can still be an okay family with me resting here and my mind going with all its thoughts. I don't need to try to control it. My state of peacefulness and zen isn't dependent on like how many thoughts are going through my mind. They can still go through my mind, but can I still be centered in myself and know that I'm not my thoughts? They can come and go and I'll be okay. So this is a practice. It's a practice that starts to show its results in transformation over time, over the consistency of going to your mat, or going to your sacred little space, or your corner, or whatever space you've designated for yourself for your yoga practice, and just going there and being with yourself and exploring and breathing and moving and checking in and resting. And if you do a journal practice before or after your practice, I think that's wonderful to really see, okay, how do you feel now when you come to your mat? How do you feel after your practice? And then to start to see the shifts. There might be a moment when you're like, oh wow, now I can go into that state of shavasana. I didn't actually go to sleep here because I can be still and calm, but I actually didn't go to sleep. I'm still aware, but I tapped into the soft, silent space. I tapped into the space of non-attachment. And then I came out of it and I realized, oh, I still have a to-do list, but now I can get it done without feeling frantic. Because the to-do list is going to be there either way. So either I can worry about it, or I can know, I'll just get it done. Because worrying doesn't actually make me perform better, right? So I can't really stress enough the importance of showing up for yourself regularly, small bits. Don't be hard on yourself. We're busy. Life is like, there are a lot of demands on us. So can you set aside 5 to 10 minutes a day? Can you start there? Just to unfurl your mat and sit, and whether it's moving intuitively, or whether you've got an inspiration for the week, you're exploring forward bending poses, or you're exploring inversions, or you're exploring twists, just to get up and show up for yourself, and then check in with yourself. Okay, after that week when you've showed up at least 4 times on your mat. Okay, check in with yourself after that month when you've been showing up every week for yourself. And then to see, wow, these slow, steady steps that seem like nothing in the moment, now you're in a totally different place. And like, when was there a point when everything shifted? It might not be clear, but it's in the consistency, right? So the consistent small steps are super important. It's the work behind the scenes that no one else really sees. Our ego doesn't see it, so our ego doesn't really want to be a part of it. But it's what we owe to ourselves to explore. And I say, at least give yourself a good month to try it before knocking it, and still get your group class in weekly or bi-weekly, or however often you go for your inspiration. And then take a theme the teacher shared with you home and play around with it on your in your own understanding, and see what you can extract from it in your own ways. So think about this. I want you to try home practice. I want you to take out your mat and play. And one thing that you really get to learn in depth with me is how to transform yoga asanas for your body, for your body's needs, for your emotional needs for where you're at in this moment in time, energetically, and in every way in life. And this is what we really break down very strongly, especially in the beginning of my yoga trainings. There's options for yoga teacher training track, so you can complete 200 hours of studying with me in depth and then go on to teach and share this amazing ancient art, wisdom, brilliance, lifestyle with others, and just share the magic with them. So I'm opening up a new group in a bit. You can book a free phone consultation with me to learn how does studying yoga in depth with me, how is it going to really help to transform over time you into the place where you'd love to be more in, really to allow you to be more of yourself and let go of so many of the layers that we identify ourselves with that really aren't us. So this became a bit of a ramble, but basically read the post, listen to your gut when you get on your mat regularly, and then come and learn yoga in depth so that you realize it's not one size fits all. Yoga practice has to be adapted to your needs. You do need to have a certain kind of knowledge of your anatomy, and also an understanding of where your strengths are and where your strengths have kind of patterned themselves into being habits, so that you may be practicing in a way that isn't so optimal for what you want right now, right? And this is what we learn in yoga study. So ponder, food for thought. Let me know, how is your time on your mat after a week of showing up 4 times for yourself? I want to hear it. If this post really spoke to you, like it, love it, share it. And be in touch with me. Get your free phone consultation going on now so you can come and study yoga with me in Jerusalem and bring this amazing gift into your life for the benefit of you on all levels, for the benefit of the world, because a happier, more at peace you is a happier, more at peace world. And I'm going to go back to my dinner preparation. Have a wonderful night, everyone.